You know, it's nice to see it when the media calls it like it is and doesn't try to sugarcoat the truth or just make things up in order to get more advertising from auto manufacturers. Auto News Europe, they do that. They'll tell you it how it is. And they're saying this: Mercedes and Volkswagen's electric vehicle ambitions are running into serious trouble. Now let's have a look at the numbers and see if it adds up. Is this true or not? Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm the Electric Viking. Great to see you. My name's Sam Evans and I'm coming to you from Melbourne, Australia. Thanks for tuning in. And thank you for subscribing to the channel. It's great to have you here. German automakers have announced some pretty strong, aggressive electrification targets, but analysts say that they aren't delivering on those numbers in spite of their media releases telling the world that they're doing amazing things and everything's going incredibly well. The truth is actually quite different. And when you have a look at the numbers, well, I think you'll find that even the electric car websites are telling you some interesting stories that are bordering on mythical, bordering on Disney fantasy. Let's start with some facts. Okay, in the first half of this year, right, Volkswagen's electric vehicle sales, including plug-in hybrids, which make up around 30% of their vehicle sales in that category, increased by exactly 0% over their sales in the first half of last year. Hang on a minute, wasn't everyone telling us that Volkswagen was scaling up their EV production enormously? Wasn't Volkswagen going to build a purpose-built electric vehicle factory called its Trinity factory or something along those lines that they've just cancelled? Maybe things aren't going quite as well for Volkswagen as what we'd think. Now, what about for BMW and Mercedes-Benz? Well, Mercedes-Benz increased its so-called electric vehicle sales by 13%. That's a better increase than Volkswagen's 0% versus the same half last year. So we're talking the first half, 6 months of this year versus the first 6 months of last year. So it increased by 13%. The problem is 60%, in fact, more than 60%, around 65% of Mercedes-Benz electric vehicle sales are plug-in hybrids. And a lot of those sales are in Europe, where plug-in hybrid incentives are about to end. So maybe things aren't going quite as well. Considering of that 13% increase, only a few percent of those were actually EVs. The same applies to BMW Group, but even more so. 66% of BMW's vehicle sales that they claim are electric cars are in fact not fully electric. They're plug-in hybrids. The German car industry's bid to take the electric vehicle crown from Tesla veered off course this week with stumbles for both Volkswagen and Mercedes-Benz, says Auto News in Europe. They said that Volkswagen plans to delay or potentially never build its key Trinity flagship EV project, which was meant to help it actually make a profit from EVs by having automation and efficiency. Now, the project has been put on hold for a minimum of 2 years after software fumbles, according to a person who works at Volkswagen who is familiar with the situation, calling into serious question, its ambitious 52 billion euro, which is about 54 billion US dollar, EV rollout touted as the industry's biggest. Now, many analysts in the American automotive industry, right, on Wall Street said in 2024, Volkswagen would easily outsell Tesla. They've said this within the last few months. Easily outsell Tesla's electric cars, fully electric cars, not hybrids, the future of the industry, right? Do you think that's likely, really? Do you think that's got an even remote chance of happening? I don't think so. Volkswagen says it does. I think if you believe that, you've got to be a little bit cuckoo. Mercedes cut prices on its flagship EQS EV in China by about $33,000. And in fact, it cut prices on every single electric car it sells in China. Now, you're probably thinking, who cares? It's China. What does it matter? Well, China makes up 1/3 of the entire global car market. And 1 in every 2 cars Mercedes sells, 1 in 2, or 50% so far this year, guess what? They're sold in China. If Mercedes loses China, it loses 50% of its vehicle sales per year. And the thing is, you've got to watch my video on what's been going on in China with Mercedes. They've been selling vehicles with defective motors that they knew would be defective and continued to do so for 10 months, despite thousands of customer complaints. They were forced to eventually recall the cars in one of the biggest debacles in the automotive industry's history. Surprisingly, no one reported on this because, I don't know, maybe Mercedes pays for their advertising. I don't know why they didn't mention it. It's strange. So Automotive News Europe says these developments are a red flag for the industry that is pouring unprecedented amounts of money and setting itself some ambitious timelines, which may or may not be realistic. While automakers the world over grapple with the switch away from combustion engines, the stakes are highest for Germany's auto manufacturers, accustomed to commanding a premium based on cutting-edge technology and luxurious trims. You know, the media in China have been crucifying Mercedes, BMW, and Audi. If you pay attention to the media in China, you'll see that they're constantly saying, why would you buy one of them? All of them are saying this. There is no one in China saying, go and buy a Mercedes, BMW, or luxury Audi EV, because they don't perceive them as luxury. They really don't. They did think that, and they still think that about their gasoline-powered cars, but they simply don't believe that the German automakers have the technology even to match Chinese automakers when it comes to EVs. They might be right. German automakers have announced bold electrification targets and claim they are leading the transition, but they are not delivering, said Bloomberg Intelligence's Michael Dean. They have a long way to go. They may be too far behind to catch up. Currently, Tesla has nearly 18% of the global share of the electric vehicle market. BYD has 11.7%, GM has 8%, BMW have 2.4%, Mercedes-Benz 1.9%. That's a pretty big gap to try and close, considering you've got a moving target. Tesla's not exactly sitting around still saying, hey, come and catch up to us. They're trying to set their own pace and trying to go even faster than the competition is. After years of failed attempts to displace Tesla, and with Chinese upstarts prepping their own moves, German automakers have switched gears to win the EV race, moving away from making incremental changes to the combustion engine cars that have dominated for decades. This is a really good point here. I just lost interest in the automotive industry for several years. I still would read the articles, but it just got boring because the companies were spending billions of dollars on saying, look at this new engine technology. You read the specs of it, and it was barely any different, like a 2% improvement in efficiency, a 2% improvement in power. The difference was just so minuscule for billions of dollars of investment. When, at the time they were doing this, they could have been investing in electric cars. I don't know why they didn't, because at this time, this was when the media was saying, it's only so long now before all the Tesla killers come and crush Tesla. But it didn't happen, because I don't think any of them actually really took electrification seriously at the time. The thing is, they should have, because China was doing it. And China is so important. Volkswagen Group, for example, 50% of their global profit comes from China. Do you think that'll still be the case in 10 years' time? That's extremely unlikely, considering the speed at which the Chinese car market is electrifying. Volkswagen just has no chance of keeping up with that pace. BMW, Mercedes, and Volkswagen are pouring more than 100 billion euros into scaling up an entirely new infrastructure of platforms, battery plants, and software to deliver a new generation of EVs. But the thing is, their competition, they've already gone through this process. They're going at lightning speed. The hope for them, for Mercedes-Benz, BMW, and Volkswagen Group, is that this will lead to increased driving ranges, as well as digital offerings that tap new sources of revenue and shut out tech rivals. From a hardware perspective, I would have no doubts that they can make superb cars, said Axel Schmidt, global head of the automotive division at management consultancy firm Accenture. But can the complexity and quality needed for the software to be mastered by a 120-year-old manufacturer actually occur? I'm not so sure, he said. Well, consider this. Volkswagen has been having enormous problems with software. It just purchased a Chinese software company for nearly $2 billion, hoping that it could fix its electric car software problems. That puts them on the back foot. Whether or not they can get on the front foot, well, it's a tough question. The latest developments show how the Volkswagen Group is re-evaluating the strategy set out by former CEO Herbert Diess. who was replaced in September with Porsche head Oliver Blume after a number of setbacks. So say Volkswagen. However, the real reason, as we all know, is Volkswagen's former CEO Diess was pushing the company too hard into electrification, and the unions in Germany didn't like it. They wanted him gone. For Mercedes, the struggles with its top-of-the-line EV model in China is a delicate development as it plans to go electric only where possible by 2030 while shifting its portfolio upmarket. But the problem is, its biggest market in China doesn't perceive its electric cars as being upmarket products. And why would they? When Mercedes has recalled all of them amid a host of problems. The engine, the motor problems are not the only ones. There's been multiple failures in their so-called luxury electric cars, which it doesn't actually make itself. BAW manufactures them for them. At Volkswagen, the fallout could also be far-reaching, and I've spoken about this in other videos. Should the delay of the Trinity battery car project beyond the original 2026 be confirmed, which it appears it has been now, the automaker may also scrap plans for a €2 billion factory in Germany. This would mean the Volkswagen brand loses a chance to close the technology gap with Tesla, especially on automated driving features, but even more importantly on actual cost to manufacture its products, which it's well behind on Tesla on, and it has admitted that. Its speed at manufacturing EVs is just too slow. Tesla takes 10 hours, Volkswagen takes more than 30. The Trinity project delay stems from well-documented struggles at Volkswagen's software development unit, CATL. The subsidiary has been beset with disruptions and so-called mismanagement that had already pushed back the release of the Audi Artemis, the company's luxury answer to Tesla, by 3 years to 2027. Now, the same software issues hit Porsche. They've pushed back some of their vehicle delivery dates by years for the same exact reasons. Blume is clearly reevaluating the whole battery electric vehicle and software strategy, and therefore 2026 would be the earliest Volkswagen could even come close to hoping to challenge Tesla, with the caveat of further platform and software delays, Dean said. That's not me. That's an industry expert in Germany, who in June said the automaker was well placed to get that goal already in 2024. Now the story has totally changed. Volkswagen is nowhere near as advanced as what people think. I genuinely believe a lot of the fanboys have been driving the hope behind the Volkswagen Group and their EV strategy. I don't think it's ever been logical. Don't get me wrong. Volkswagen making EVs, that's logical. The way they've gone about it, well, the proof is in the pudding. The proof is in the results. The results just aren't there. What did I say at the start of this video? 0% increase in electric vehicle deliveries in the first half of this year versus the first half of last year. With any new electric facility delay, Volkswagen could be forced to invest more into its aging MEB platform that has been the basis for its non-profit making ID electric vehicle car sales. Those cars have been riddled with software problems, as I've documented here on this channel, including sudden braking from a faulty traffic detection system, drivers' cars displays seizing up, and a host of other issues. CATL will now focus on finishing a new software architecture for its premium models from Porsche and Audi, push back a cross-brand platform that was meant to bolster the Trinity project and deliver self-driving capabilities while reducing costs. By using it on all the platforms, they could reduce the costs. Now they're no longer doing that. They will increase costs within the company. It looks like the Germans are tripping over themselves recently, said Matthias Schmidt, a Berlin-based auto industry analyst. The inherent perfectionism could be their own worst enemy and could likely be slowing them down in the fast-paced electric vehicle environment. Exactly. China is working at a fast pace. Tesla are working at a fast pace. And I don't personally believe that BMW, Mercedes, or Volkswagen can ever catch up. Now let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.